Okay folks, good morning. This is Friday morning and this is my video number 5. This is not going to be an especially funny story, but it's going to be my morning revelation that I'm going to share with you, and as such will be very light-hearted and profoundly insightful. This morning I have prepared for you a story with a punchline, but I put it to another day because the noise around here was so loud. Somebody outside is trying to cut concrete. The air conditioner almost wants to rattle out of the wall. The neighbors going around the house with excited voices talking to each other and interfering with my voice in the microphone. So this was certainly not an ideal recording moment in my little studio apartment. And it reminded me of a story when I wanted to lean out the window and silence everything. A story that I heard when I was a teenager of Pastor Bruno, the Catholic saint, who was known for his extensive, deep prayers to the Lord. One evening he was in his cell, kneeling down for long hours and enjoying his communion with the Lord in prayer. Sunset happened, and if you have ever been to Hungary in nature, you know that it is especially louder. All the crickets, the frogs, the birds, entire nature just wakes up as the sun is setting, and it is rather loud. Sometimes you can barely even hear yourself thinking. So Pastor Bruno had to get up from his knees, go to the window, and he decided that he will instruct nature to go silent. And it did. Because he was a saint, his instructions had authority, power. Then he was very satisfied to close the window and went back into his prayer, cloaking himself in his special feelings of communion with the Father. And that's when the miracle happened. Inside the heart of Pastor Bruno, the still small voice began to talk to him. Pastor Bruno, do you think that your prayer is sweeter sound for the Father in heaven to listen to than the voice of nature around you and the little creatures praying to him? Well, Pastor Bruno fell into his heart and contemplated, and he felt convicted as a result. He opened the window and once again ordered nature to restore that evening prayer and music. Closed the window again and returned to his prayer. And he delighted to join the choir with his own words added to nature's. Why did I tell you this story? Because this story is reimbursed in the Bible. Now you won't find this very same story there, but Jesus, in one of his parables, telling about the profitable and the unprofitable servants in Matthew 25. He tells that the first servant was delighted to please the Father and used all his gifts to serve his people to create profit for him. The second one maybe was not so gifted, but he had incredible joy in his heart to serve the Master, and they both received the same reward, regardless that their profit was significantly different. The reward was the same. They entered the joy of the Father. Therefore, they continued to delight in him. But the third servant called him a shrewd and unjust master, dug away his gifts, hid them in the field, and told the master to go and dig it out for himself. So he had an attitude, and he had found no joy in pleasing the Father or serving his people. Therefore, he was ordered to be thrown into the darkness and the gnashing of teeth, called a gnashing of teeth. What does it teach us as biblical entrepreneurs? Yes, we're supposed to be profitable, but our real reward is not the profit, but the joy of the Father. If we put him first and find delight in serving him and his people, we are already rewarded. The profit is like icing on the cake, but because we needed to cover our expenses and strategize for the future, reinvest into the kingdom of God and our service. But ultimately, we are only stewards of the gifts that God had given us and planted into our lives. In Pastor Bruno's example, the joy of the Father is for the pastor to learn to appreciate all of the other voices and sing along in a choir. In Matthew 25, the servants were serving others, the people of God. Therefore, they were lifted above the fold. Now, how is your story going to end, my friend? That is the objective of biblical entrepreneurship. Are you ready to serve the Lord and his people with joy in your heart? Because our prayer is our work, and our work is our prayer. Have a nice day, friends. Bye-bye, and God bless you. Aloha.